This channel has been established for visually impaired people. For the visually impaired people, voice narration and a written expression are also provided for the hearing impaired. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The European Union (EU) is a politico-economic union of 28 member states that are located primarily in Europe. It has an area of 4,324,782. European Union in 1993 and introduced European citizenship. The latest major amendment to the constitutional basis of the EU, the Treaty of Lisbon, came into force in 2009 covering 73% of the world population. The EU in 2016 generated a nominal gross domestic product (GDP) of $16,477 trillion, constituting approximately 222% of global nominal GDP and 169% when measured in terms of purchasing power parity. Additionally, 26 out of 28 EU countries have a very high Human Development Index. According to the United Nations Development Programme in 2012, the EU was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize through the Common Foreign and Security Policy. The EU has developed a role in external relations and defence. The Union maintains permanent diplomatic missions throughout the world and represents itself at the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, the G8, and the G20 because of its global influence. The European Union has been described as a current or as a potential superpower. Contents: 1 History 11 Preliminary 1945-57-12 Treaty of Rome 1957-92 13 Maastricht Treaty 1992-2007 14 Lisbon Treaty 2007 present. 15 Structural Evolution 2 Geography 21 Member States 22 Environment 3 Politics 31 Constitutional Nature 32 Governance 321 European Council 322 Council of the European Union 323 European Parliament 324 European Commission 33 Budget 34 Competences 4 Legal System 41 Courts of Justice 42 Fundamental Rights 43 Acts 44 Area of Freedom, Security and Justice 5 Foreign Relations 51 Military 52 Humanitarian Aid 6 Economy 61 Internal Market 62 Monetary Union 63 Energy 64 Infrastructure 65 Agriculture 66 Competition 7 Demographics 71 Urbanization 72 Languages 73 Religion 74 Education and Science 75 Health care 8 Culture 81 Sport 82 Symbols 83 Media 9 See also 10 Notes 11 References 111 Sources 12 Further reading 13 External links History Main articles, History of the European Union and History of Europe Preliminary 1945–57 Play Media Robert Schuman proposing the coal and steel community on 9 May 1950 After World War II, European integration was seen as an antidote to the extreme nationalism which had devastated the continent. The 1948 Hague Congress was a pivotal moment in European federal history, as it led to the creation of the European Movement International and of the College of Europe, where Europe's future leaders would live and study together. 1952 saw the creation of the European Coal and Steel Community, which was declared to be a first step in the Federation of Europe. The supporters of the community included Alcide de Gasperi, Jean Monnet, Robert Schuman, and Paul-Henri Spaak. Treaty of Rome 1957–92 The continental territories of the member states of the European Union European Communities pre-1993, colored in order of accession in 1957, Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands and West Germany signed the Treaty of Rome, which created the European Economic Community (EEC) and established a customs union. They also signed another pact creating the European Atomic Energy Community Euratom for cooperation in developing nuclear energy. Both treaties came into force in 1958. The EEC and Euratom were created separately from ECSC, although they shared the same courts and the Common Assembly. The EEC was headed by Walter Hallstein Commission and Euratom was headed by Louis Armand Commission and then Étienne Hirsch. Euratom was to integrate sectors in nuclear energy while the EEC would develop a customs union among members. Through the 1960s, tensions began to show, with France seeking to limit supranational power. Nevertheless, in 1965 an agreement was reached and on 1 July 1967 the merger treaty created a single set of institutions for the three communities, which were collectively referred to as the European Communities. Jean Rey presided over the first merged commission, Rey Commission. In 1989, the Iron Curtain fell, enabling the Union to expand further. Berlin Wall pictured in 1973, the communities enlarged to include Denmark including Greenland, which later left the community in 1985, following a dispute over fishing rights. Ireland, and the United Kingdom. Norway had negotiated to join at the same time, but Norwegian voters rejected membership in a referendum in 1979. The first direct elections to the European Parliament were held. Greece joined in 1981, Portugal and Spain following in 1986. In 1985, the Schengen Agreement paved the way for the creation of open borders without passport controls between most member states and some non-member states. In 1986, the European flag began to be used by the community and the Single European Act was signed in 1990. After the fall of the Eastern Bloc, the former East Germany became part of the community as part of a reunified Germany, with further enlargement planned to include the former communist states, as well as Cyprus and Malta. The Copenhagen criteria for candidate members to join the EU were agreed upon in June 1993. Maastricht Treaty 1992–2007. The euro was introduced in 2002, replacing 12 national currencies. 7 countries have since joined. The European Union was formally established when the Maastricht Treaty, whose main architects were Helmut Kohl and François Mitterrand, came into force on 1 November 1993. The treaty also gave the name European Community to the EEC, even if it was referred as such before the treaty in 1995. Austria, Finland, and Sweden joined the EU in 2002. Euro banknotes and coins replaced national currencies in 12 of the member states. Since then, the Eurozone has increased to encompass 19 countries. The euro currency became the second largest reserve currency in the world in 2004. The EU saw its biggest enlargement to date when Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Poland, Slovakia and Slovenia joined the Union. Lisbon Treaty 2007 present 2009, the Lisbon Treaty entered into force in 2007, Romania and Bulgaria became EU members the same year, Slovenia adopted the euro, followed in 2008 by Cyprus and Malta, by Slovakia in 2009, by Estonia in 2011, by Latvia in 2014 and by Lithuania in 2015. EU representatives received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2012. On 1 December 2009, the Lisbon Treaty entered into force and reformed many aspects of the EU. In particular, it changed the legal structure of the European Union, merging the EU three pillars system into a single legal entity provisioned with a legal personality, created a permanent president of the European Council, the first of which was Herman Van Rompuy, and strengthened the position of the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. In 2012, the EU received the Nobel Peace Prize for having contributed to the advancement of peace and reconciliation, democracy, and human rights in Europe. In 2013, Croatia became the 28th EU member. From the beginning of the 2010s, the European Union has been going through a series of tests, including a debt crisis in some of the Eurozone countries, increasing migration from the Middle East and the possible United Kingdom's withdrawal from the EU. A referendum in the UK on its membership of the European Union was held on 23 June 2016, with a majority of participants voting to leave as of October 2016. The UK has not yet initiated the formal withdrawal procedure, and will not leave the EU until either 2 years after it notifies the European Council of its decision to withdraw, or on the coming into force of a withdrawal agreement. Structural evolution. Main article, Treaties of the European Union. The following timeline illustrates the integration that has led to the formation of the present Union, in terms of structural development driven by international treaties, signed. In Force Document 1948 Brussels Treaty 1951 Paris Treaty 1954 Modified Brussels Treaty 1957 Rome Treaty 1965 Merger Treaty 1975 A European Council Conclusion 1985 Schengen Treaty 1986 Single European Act 1992 Maastricht Treaty 1997 Amsterdam Treaty 2001 2003 Nice Treaty 2007 Lisbon Treaty including the overseas territories of France which are located outside the continent of Europe, but which are members of the Union. The EU experiences most types of climate from Arctic northeast Europe to tropical French Guiana, rendering meteorological averages for the EU as a whole meaningless. The majority of the population lives in areas with a temperate maritime climate northwestern Europe and Central Europe, a Mediterranean climate southern Europe, or a warm summer continental or hemiboreal climate northern Balkans and Central Europe. The EU's population is highly urbanized, with some 75% of inhabitants and growing, projected to be 90% in 7 member states by 2020 living in urban areas. Cities are largely spread out across the EU, although with a large grouping in and around the Benelux. An increasing percentage of this is due to low-density urban sprawl which is extending into natural areas in some cases. This urban growth has been due to the influx of EU funds into a region. Member States. Main article, Member States of the European Union. Map of the European Union in the world with overseas countries and territories and outermost regions. Through successive enlargements, the European Union has grown from the 6 founding states, Belgium, France, West Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, to the current 28 countries accede to the Union by becoming party to the founding treaties, thereby subjecting themselves to the privileges and obligations of EU membership. This entails a partial delegation of sovereignty to the institutions in return for representation within those institutions, a practice often referred to as pooling of sovereignty. To become a member, a country must meet the Copenhagen criteria, defined at the 1993 meeting of the European Council in Copenhagen. These require a stable democracy that respects human rights and the rule of law, a functioning market economy, and the acceptance of the obligations of membership, including EU law. Evaluation of a country's fulfillment of the criteria is the responsibility of the European Council. No member state has yet left the Union, although Greenland and autonomous province of Denmark withdrew in 1985. The Lisbon Treaty now contains a clause under Article 50, providing for a member to leave the EU. On 23 June 2016, the United Kingdom voted by referendum to leave the EU. However, it remains a member until it officially exits, and has not yet begun formal withdrawal procedures. There are 6 countries that are recognized as candidates for membership: Albania, Iceland, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Turkey, though Iceland suspended negotiations in 2013. Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo are officially recognized as potential candidates, with Bosnia and Herzegovina having submitted a membership application. The 4 countries forming the European Free Trade Association (EFTA) are not EU members, but have partly committed to the EU's economy and regulations: Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway, which are a part of the single market through the European Economic Area, and Switzerland, which has similar ties through bilateral treaties. The relationships of the European Microstates, Andorra, Monaco, San Marino, and the Vatican include the use of the euro and other areas of cooperation. The following 28 sovereign states, of which the map only shows territories situated in and around Europe, constitute the European Union. Name capital accession population area km2 Austria Vienna 1995010000001995-01-01-0001 January 1995 7,6,870,047,100,000,000 Spade suit 8,700,471 7,4,838,550,000,000 Spade suit 83,855 Belgium Brussels 19,570,325 Founder 7,712,898,530,000,000 Spade suit 11,289,853 7,4,305,280,000,000 Spade suit 30,528 Bulgaria Sofia 2007-01-000000-2007-01-01-0001 January 2007 7,6,715,378,400,000,000 Spade suit 7,153,784 7,5,110,994,000,000 Spade suit 110,994 Croatia Zagreb 2013-07-01-00000000-2013-07-01 01-00001 July 2013 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 419 trillion 66 billion 900 million Spade suit 4,190,669 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 565 trillion 940 billion Spade suit 56,594 Cyprus Nicosia 2004-05-0000002004-05-01 May 2004 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 848 trillion 319 billion Spade suit 848,319 7 quintillion 3 quadrillion 925 trillion 100 billion Spade suit 9,251 Czech Republic Prague 2004-05-0000002004-05-01 May 2004 7 quintillion 7 quadrillion 105 trillion 538 8,430 million Spade suit 10,553,843 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 788 trillion 660 billion Spade suit 78,866 Denmark Copenhagen 1973-01000001973-01-01-0001 January 1973 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 570 trillion 725 billion 100 million Spade suit 5,707,251 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 430 trillion 750 billion Spade suit 43,075 Estonia Tallinn 2004-05-0000002004-05-01-0001 May 2004 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 131 trillion 594 billion 400 million Spade suit 1,315,944 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 452 trillion 270 billion Spade suit 45,227 Finland Helsinki 1995-0100000001995-01-01-0001 January 1995 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 548 trillion 730 billion 800 million Spade suit 5,487,308 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 338 trillion 424 billion Spade suit 338,424 France Paris 19,570,325 Founder 7 quintillion 7 quadrillion 666 trillion 616 billion 210 million Spade suit 66,661,621 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 640 trillion 679 billion Spade suit 640,679 Germany Berlin 19,570,325 Founder 7 quintillion 7 quadrillion 821 trillion 620 billion Spade suit 82,162,000 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 357 trillion 21 billion Spade suit 357,021 Greece Athens 1981-01000001981-01-01-0001 January 1981 7 quintillion 7 quadrillion 107 trillion 935 billion 260 million Spade suit 10,793,526 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 131 trillion 990 billion Spade suit 131,990 Hungary Budapest 2004-01-0000002004-05-01-0001 May 2004 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 983 trillion 48 billion 500 million Spade suit 9,830,485 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 930 trillion 300 billion Spade suit 93,030 Ireland Dublin 1973-01000001973-01-01-0001 January 1973 7 quintillion 6 quadrillion 465 trillion 853 billion Spade suit 4,658,530 7 quintillion 4 quadrillion 702 trillion 730 billion Spade suit 70 19,570,273 Italy Rome 19,570,325 Founder 7,706,606,655,510,000,000 Spade suit 60,665,551 7,500,301,338,000,000 Spade suit 301,338 Latvia Riga 2004-05010000002004-05-01 May 2004 7,6,196,895,700,000,000 Spade suit 1,968,957 7,4,645,890,000,000 Spade suit 64,589 Lithuania Vilnius 2004-05-01000002004-05-01 May 2004 7,6,288,255,800,000,000 Spade suit 2,888,558 7,4,652,000,000 Spade suit 65,200 Luxembourg City 19,570,325 Founder 7,500,576,249,000,000 Spade suit 576,249 7,3,258,600,000,000 Spade suit 2,586 Malta Valletta 2004-05-01000002004-05-01 May 2004 7,500,434,403,000,000 Spade suit 434,403 7,2,316,000,000 Spade suit 316 Netherlands Amsterdam 19,570,325 Founder 7,7,769,791,200,000,000 Spade suit 16,979,120 7,4,415,430,000,000 Spade suit 41,543 Poland Warsaw 2004-05-010000002004 05-01 May 2004 7,7,379,672,090,000,000 Spade suit 37,967,209 7,500,312,685,000,000 Spade suit 312,685 Portugal Lisbon 1986010000001986-01-01 January 1986 7,7,103,413,300,000,000 Spade suit 10,341,330 7,4,923,900,000,000 Spade suit 92,390 Romania Bucharest 2007-01-00000002007-01-01 January 2007 7,7,197,599,680,000,000 Spade suit 19,759,968 7,500,238,391,000,000 Spade suit 238,391 Slovakia Bratislava 2004-05-01000002004-05-01 May 2004 7,6,542,625,200,000,000 Spade suit 5,426,252 7,4,490,350,000,000 Spade suit 49,035 Slovenia Ljubljana 2004-05-01000002004-05-01 May 2004 7,6,000,000 quadrillion spade suit 2,064,188 7 quintillion 4,202,730,000,000 spade suit 20,273 Spain Madrid 1986 January 1986 7 quintillion 464,384,220,000,000 spade suit 46,438,422 7 quintillion 5,504,030,000,000 spade suit 504,030 Sweden Stockholm 1995-01995-01995-01-01 January 1995 7 quintillion 6,985,101,700,000,000 spade suit 9,851,017 7 quintillion 5,449,964,000,000 spade suit 449,964 United Kingdom London 1973-01000001973-01-01 January 1973 7 quintillion 7,653,411,830,000,000 spade suit 65,341,183 7 quintillion 5,243,610,000,000 spade suit 243,610 Environment Further information, European Commissioner for the Environment and European Climate Change Programme Viru Bog in Lahema National Park in Estonia, a protected habitat under the Habitats Directive in 1957. When the EEC was founded, it had no environmental policy over the past 50 years. An increasingly dense network of legislation has been created, extending to all areas of environmental protection, including air pollution, water quality, waste management, nature conservation, and the control of chemicals, industrial hazards and biotechnology. According to the Institute for European Environmental Policy, environmental law comprises over 500 directives, regulations and decisions, making environmental policy a core area of European politics. European policymakers originally increased the EU's capacity to act on environmental issues by defining it as a trade problem. Trade barriers and competitive distortions in the common market could emerge due to the different environmental standards in each member state. In subsequent years, the environment became a formal policy area, with its own policy actors, principles and procedures. The legal basis for EU environmental policy was established with the introduction of the Single European Act in 1987. A black stork, a protected species under Regulation EC No. 338/97. Initially, EU environmental policy focused on Europe. More recently, the EU has demonstrated leadership in global environmental governance, e.g. the role of the EU in securing the ratification and coming into force of the Kyoto Protocol despite opposition from the United States. This international dimension is reflected in the EU's sixth Environmental Action Programme, which recognizes that its objectives can only be achieved if key international agreements are actively supported and properly implemented both at EU level and worldwide. The Lisbon Treaty further strengthened the leadership ambitions. EU law has played a significant role in improving habitat and species protection in Europe, as well as contributing to improvements in air and water quality and waste management. Mitigating climate change is one of the top priorities of EU environmental policy. In 2007, member states agreed that, in future, 20% of the energy used across the EU must be renewable, and carbon dioxide emissions have to be lower in 2020 by at least 20% compared to 1990 levels. The EU has adopted an emissions trading system to incorporate carbon emissions into the economy. The European Green Capital is an annual award given to cities that focuses on the environment, energy efficiency and quality of life in urban areas to create smart city politics. Main article, Politics of the European Union. The European Union operates according to the principles of conferral, which says that it should act only within the limits of the competences conferred on it by the treaties, and of subsidiarity, which says that it should act only where an objective cannot be sufficiently achieved by the member states acting alone. Laws made by the EU institutions are passed in a variety of forms. Generally speaking, they can be classified into two groups: those which come into force without the necessity for national implementation measures regulations and those which specifically require national implementation measures directives constitutional nature further information, Treaties of the European Union political system of the European Union. The classification of the EU in terms of international or constitutional law has been much debated. It began life as an international organization and gradually developed into a confederation of states. However, since the mid-1960s it has also added several of the key attributes of a federation, such as the direct effect of the law of the general level of government upon the individual and majority voting in the decision-making process of the general level of government, without becoming a federation per se. Scholars thus today see it as an intermediate form lying between a confederation and a federation, being an instance of neither political structure. For this reason, the organization is termed sui generis, incomparable, one of a kind. Although some argue that this designation is no longer valid, the organization has traditionally used the terms community and later union to describe itself. The difficulties of classification involve the difference between national law, where the subjects of the law include natural persons and corporations, and international law, where the subjects include sovereign states and international organizations. They can also be seen in the light of differing European and American constitutional traditions, especially in terms of the European tradition. The term federation is equated with a sovereign federal state in international law, so the EU cannot be called a federation, at least, not without qualification. It is, however, described as being based on a federal model or federal in nature. And so it may be appropriate to consider it a federal union of states, a conceptual structure lying between the Confederation of States and the federal state. The German Constitutional Court refers to the EU as a Staatenverbund, an intermediate structure between the Staatenbund Confederation of States and the Bundesstaat federal state. Consistent with this concept, this may be a long-lived political form. Professor Andrew Moravchik claims that the EU is unlikely to develop further into a federal state, but instead has reached maturity as a constitutional system. Governance. Main articles, Institutions of the European Union and Legislature of the European Union. The European Union has 7 institutions: the European Council, the Council of the European Union, the European Parliament, the European Commission, the Court of Justice of the European Union, the European Central Bank and the European Court of Auditors. Competence in scrutinizing and amending legislation is shared between the Council of the European Union and the European Parliament, while executive tasks are performed by the European Commission and in a limited capacity by the European Council, not to be confused with the aforementioned Council of the European Union. The monetary policy of the Eurozone is determined by the European Central Bank. The interpretation and the application of EU law and the treaties are ensured by the Court of Justice of the European Union. The EU budget is scrutinized by the European Court of Auditors. There are also a number of ancillary bodies which advise the EU or operate in a specific area. Institutions of the European Union v.e. European Council, provides impetus and direction, Council of the European Union, Legislature, European Parliament, Legislature, European Commission, Executive. Summit of the heads of state or government, the President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission. Gives the necessary political impetus for the development of the Union and sets its general objectives and priorities. Will not legislate based in Brussels. Acts together with the Parliament as a legislature. Shares with the Parliament the budgetary power. Ensures coordination of the broad economic and social policy and sets out guidelines for the common foreign and security policy. CFSP concludes international agreements based in Brussels. Acts together with the Council as a legislature. Shares with the Council the budgetary power and decides in the last instance on the budget. Exerts the democratic control over the institutions including the European Commission and approves the Commission members based in and plenary sessions in Strasbourg. Primarily meets in Brussels as the executive submits proposals for new legislation to the Parliament and Council. Implements policies. Administers the budget. Ensures compliance with European law. Guardian of the treaties. Negotiates international agreements based in Brussels. Court of Justice of the European Union, Judiciary, European Central Bank, European Court of Auditors, Financial Auditor. Ensures the uniform application and interpretation of European law. Has the power to decide legal disputes between member states. The institutions, businesses and individuals based in Luxembourg. Forms together with the national central banks the European system of central banks and thereby determines the monetary policy of the Eurozone. ensures price stability in the Eurozone by controlling the money supply based in Frankfurt, checks the proper implementation of the budget based in Luxembourg. European Council. President of the European Council, Donald Tusk. The European Council gives political direction to the EU. It convenes at least 4 times a year and comprises the President of the European Council, currently Donald Tusk, the President of the European Commission, and 1 representative per member state, either its head of state or head of government. The High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, currently Federica Mogherini, also takes part in its meetings. It has been described by some as the Union's supreme political authority. It is actively involved in the negotiation of treaty changes and defines the EU's policy agenda and strategies. The European Council uses its leadership role to sort out disputes between member states and the institutions, and to resolve political crises and disagreements over controversial issues and policies. It acts externally as a collective head of state and ratifies important documents, for example, international agreements and treaties. Tasks for the President of the European Council are ensuring the external representation of the EU, driving consensus and resolving divergences among member states, both during meetings of the European Council and over the periods between them. The European Council should not be mistaken for the Council of Europe, an international organization independent of the EU based in Strasbourg. Council of the European Union. The Council of the European Union, also called the Council and the Council of Ministers, its former title, forms 1/2 of the EU's legislature. It consists of a government minister from each member state and meets in different compositions depending on the policy area being addressed. Notwithstanding its different configurations, it is considered to be one single body in addition to its legislative functions. The Council also exercises executive functions in relations to the common foreign and security policy. European Parliament. The hemicycle of the European Parliament in Strasbourg. The European Parliament forms the other half of the EU's legislature. The 751 members of the European Parliament MEPs are directly elected by EU citizens every 5 years on the basis of proportional representation. Although MEPs are elected on a national basis, they sit according to political groups rather than their nationality. Each country has a set number of seats and is divided into sub-national constituencies where this does not affect the proportional nature of the voting system. The European Parliament and the Council of the European Union pass legislation jointly in nearly all areas under the ordinary legislative procedure. This also applies to the EU budget. The European Commission is accountable to Parliament, requiring its approval to take office, having to report back to it and subject to motions of censure from it. The President of the European Parliament, currently Martin Schulz, carries out the role of Speaker in Parliament and represents it externally. The President and Vice Presidents are elected by MEPs every 2.5 years. European Commission. Commission President, Jean-Claude Juncker. The European Commission acts as the EU's executive arm and is responsible for initiating legislation and the day-to-day running of the EU. The Commission is also seen as the motor of European integration. It operates as a cabinet government, with 28 commissioners for different areas of policy, 1 from each member state, though commissioners are bound to represent the interests of the EU as a whole rather than their home state. One of the 28 is the President of the European Commission, currently Jean-Claude Juncker, appointed by the European Council after the President. The most prominent commissioner is the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, who is ex officio a Vice President of the Commission and is also chosen by the European Council. The other 26 commissioners are subsequently appointed by the Council of the European Union in agreement with the nominated President. The 28 commissioners as a single body are subject to a vote of approval by the European Parliament. Budget. Main article, Budget of the European Union. The 2011 EU budget €1,419 billion. €801